welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. We are going to be analysing in today's video the full fallout, the full reaction from what was last night a humiliation against Bayern Munich. What does this mean for the current board? Could we see early elections? That's the hope right now that we are all clinging on to. What's the latest on Setien? Who could replace him at Barcelona? And of course, also the latest on Messi's future, which again has come under question. It was embarrassing, it was humiliating, but what now will be the ramifications? That's what we're looking at, and I thank you for staying with me. If we start with the headlines in the Spanish media, and it's good to see that absolutely no punches were pulled. Believe me, we want to be seeing in the media right now full attack on the leadership and the running of Barcelona right now. Sport there go with the headline, historical humiliation. And that's probably the most accurate headline they have had in years. Marca, on the other hand, just go there with shame and a picture of the Barcelona team looking dejected during that Bayern Munich humbling. And certainly there, you look at MD. That's the cover in particular that I really want to focus on. We know that MD are very, very close to the board. So what they came out with there was very, very key. They said shameful end of a cycle. They focused there on the words of Gerard Piqué, which we are going to come on to. But really importantly, they had on that cover that Bartomeu will call for elections and he will bring them forward by a certain amount of time. And that's what we're discussing. That's what we're clinging on to in today's video. But if we start here with the words of Gerard Piqué, who, to be fair to him, came out immediately after the game yesterday. He was the man to face the media, and I do respect that. I also respect everything that you are going to hear from what he said, but I also respect the fact that he did come out and he really did face up to it after such a humiliating game. And he is, to be fair, one of the few players in this team. He does care for the club. He does care about the club's future. He said, "We've hit rock bottom." He said, "This is not the first time. It's not the second time. It's not even the third time. We're not on the right path. We all have to think internally and decide what is best for the club." He said tonight was unacceptable for Barcelona, but he also did go on to say, "It's very hard to take, but I hope tonight will be useful for something, for us all to think about, because the club needs change." I'm not talking about the level of coach. I'm not talking about the level of player. I am talking about structurally. The club needs changes of all kind. And again, hats off to Piqué. Respect for what he came out and said, because he did say, we must bring in new blood to change the dynamic of this team. And he said, if necessary, I would be the first to leave. I would be the first to step aside. And quite clearly there, looking at those words from Piqué, you need that change in management. You need that leadership to not only bring in that new blood, which we already have at the club, but to use it. Coming on then to Quique Setien, he said, "I'm not going to talk about what is needed at the club." He was asked there about Gerard Piqué's comments. He said, "I've been here for only a few months, but if Gerard says that it's time for big changes, then there should be importance to his words." He said, "It's time now for us to review and take the decisions which are needed for the future." He said, "But my future here does not depend on me." And to be fair, I think Quique Setien, he's well aware the writing is on the wall. When he came in, he knew that failure, certainly of this magnitude, it would spell the end for him at Barcelona, even despite any circumstances which may arise. And indeed, he is going to be sacked. Just to confirm that right here and now, it's not official just yet from Barcelona, but Setien will be sacked as the Barca coach, and it will eventually mean that in 2020, come the start of next season, Barca will be on their third coach of the year. And right now, the early frontrunner to take over as coach, it's Mauricio Pochettino. Apparently, last week and back in January, he actually had a meeting there. He went out to dinner with the board. Apparently, they've spoken to him on a number of occasions. And he right now is the favourite to take over. But more on that as we get it. Piqué, though, wasn't the only one who spoke out after yesterday's game. I want to bring you here some very, very damning words and some very accurate words from Frenkie de Jong. He said, "I think today we showed that we have a lot of problems in the team." He said, "We know we have to make a lot of changes." He said, "It's difficult. We apologise to the fans. And I think we have to change many, many things." But he went on to say, this is really, really accurate in what he was saying. He said, "Bayern were much better than us." But he did say, "I don't think that's to do with talent." He said, "I think that's to do there with intensity and hard work. We have to change these things. It's a huge disappointment, not just for me, but for all of the club, because this club is accustomed to winning trophies. And of course, then following the game, there was plenty of media reports that you will have seen that have been coming out very, very frequently. One of the big ones, of course, surrounding the future of Lionel Messi, because once again, it was Cope, the same source, you have to note there, that came out a few weeks ago and said that Messi was considering leaving at the end of his contract in 2021, given the fact, of course, that he is still yet to renew. And they actually did come out once again, and they said Messi is fed up. He is not happy with the way the club is being run. He's not happy with what he's seeing from the club. And they go on to say that if there is not drastic changes, and I mean big structural changes at the club, Messi will leave in 2021. It's a real possibility. If we don't now see some change. And of course, after such a humiliation, after such a tough night, we also heard from the presidential candidates in the coming election. Jean Laporta came out, he said, after such a painful defeat, the comments made by President Bartomeu after the game are once again a sign of cowardice and ineptitude. The incompetence from him and his board prevents them from making adequate decisions that condition Barca's future. Laporta there, damning of Bartomeu, and again, absolutely right in that cowardice from Bartomeu. And also Victor Font, he came out too. He said it's been too many years of sadness and shame. Tonight has only one name: humiliation. He said we can no longer prolong the agony nor waste any more precious time. Bartomeu must resign and call elections as soon as possible, and together we rebuild the club and return the hope to Barca. And I think at this point, and it has been now for quite some time, it is all about those elections. That is what we are desperately clinging on to. That is what we're desperately crying for right now. Because, of course, you can look at the coach, you can look at the players. We know they weren't good enough. We know that for quite some time now, the level hasn't been there, and there's no getting away from that. But like I keep saying, and like I've said now for many, many, many months, many years, in fact, it all comes from the top. That lack of leadership, the amount of people who talk there about the cowardice of Bartomeu, that's what he is. And certainly there, even in his words after the game, you see that cowardice coming out. He's talking about change, he's talking about other people, he's talking about everybody but himself, never taking any responsibility, never fronting up to his own failings. And I just find it incredible right now that he wouldn't consider resigning. You've had Roma, you've had Liverpool, those were bad enough. Those were bad enough nights for this entire club and its history. But last night, the biggest humiliation of all, and somehow Bartomeu still sits there and thinks, yep, I'm the right man to lead the club. How is he not resigned? How is he not considered resigning? And if you do want to understand the sheer delusion of this man, the sheer incompetence of this clown, there have been reports already that along with Setien being out the door, Bartomeu now is considering firing Eric Abidal, Oscar Grau. They also apparently could be removed from their roles. And I've said it before, at what point here has Bartomeu genuinely fired everybody around him? We've had vice presidents walk out the door. We've had vice presidents fired. At what point would he have actually pointed the finger at everybody else except himself? Because you should be pointing the finger at yourself. Bartomeu is the problem. It starts from the top. You are the root of the problem, and we want you gone. And in terms of early elections right now, that glimmer of hope that we have, there are several reports that claim that Bartomeu will indeed call elections, but there is still confusion on exactly when they will be. Because in usual circumstances, in the final year there of your presidential term, the elections would be called for around June, which there would be June 2021, which right now seems like such a long way away. But there are reports that claim that either Bartomeu could call them immediately, with immediate effect. There are also some reports that say that it could be January where the elections are set, or maybe even they're brought forward very slightly to March 2021. All that should be revealed very, very soon. And believe me, the sooner, the better. We need a fresh start. We need a new lease of life to get this club back on its feet. Once again, guys, thank you so much here for joining me, and thank you for standing by not only me, but certainly the club. I know that it's tough right now. I know that everybody is feeling pretty much on the floor. We got up after Roma, we got up after Liverpool, and we're trying to drag ourselves back up after this defeat. But the good thing this time, and the only good thing this time, is that this could genuinely be the end. This could really now be the final nail in the coffin for Bartomeu's board. They're so close to leaving this club. And I really do believe when they are gone, we can start to think about better times. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. We will rise again. But until next time, as always, Visca! El Barça!